Good afternoon. It's 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday, October 4th, 2022. We will call the City Council meeting of the City of New Ulm to order. Item number 1 is the consent agenda. Councilors, what are your wishes?
I'll offer a motion to approve.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion is carried. Item number 2.1, 2021-2022 weed removal, snow removal, and property repair assessments.
I'll motion to approve establishing the special assessments for 2021-2022 weed removal, snow removal, and property repairs, and set the date for the public hearing on Tuesday, November 1, 2022 at 4:30 p.m. Council Chambers.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion?
Do people then that are listed here, do they typically show up at these or?
Not normally.
Normally, no.
No?
Letters go out though, so they're all notified.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 3.1, a tree license service.
I'll offer a motion to approve the issuance of tree service license for Mankato Landscapes Incorporated, owned by Todd Reek, 6505 216th Street, Eagle Lake, Minnesota, for the period beginning October 5th, 2022, ending June 30th, 2023, subject to compliance with all city and state requirements.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Item number 3.2, on sale and off sale intoxicating liquor licenses and Sunday liquor license.
I'll make a motion to approve the issuance of an on-sale intoxicating liquor license, off-sale intoxicating liquor license, and Sunday liquor license for Sweet Haven Tonics LLC, Sweet Haven Tonics at 116 North Minnesota Street for the period beginning December 1st, 2022, ending June 30th, 2023, subject to compliance with all city and state requirements.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any additional discussion? I think this will be fun to see as well downtown, so looking forward to it. Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3.3, lawful gambling permit, Cathedral of the Holy Trinity.
Motion to approve the issuance of a lawful gambling permit for Cathedral of the Holy Trinity to conduct bingo and raffles gambling at Cathedral of the Holy Trinity, 605 State Street on Friday, October 28th, 2022.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Item number 4.1, preliminary plot of Milford Heights, 7th edition.
Do we have a 3.4?
3.4, sorry, raffles gambling permit for New Ulm Area Catholic Schools.
The motion to approve the issuance of the lawful gambling permit for New Ulm Area Catholic Schools to conduct raffles gambling at New Ulm Area Catholic School, St. Anthony Building, 514 North Washington Street, on Saturday, October 8th, 2022.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Now to item 4.1, preliminary plot of Milford Heights, 7th edition. Mr. Schnobrick.
Madam President, members of the City Council, Dave Schnorberg, Community Development Director. The applicant in this particular case, property owner, is Al Paler on behalf of S&P Development LLC. The legal description of the property is Lot 8 through 13, Block 2, Milford Heights, 2nd edition. That plat was approved in 2017. Street address is 633 to 653 Haberly Avenue. Property is currently zoned R4, High Density Residence District. Property is undeveloped, vacant. To the west of this property are 2 twin homes. The new plat would consist of 4 lots and would accommodate 2 sets of twin homes. Twin homes, though, are not permitted in the R4 zoning district. Lots 2, 3, and 4 of this particular plat do not comply with our width requirements, and Lot 2 and 3 do not comply with the lot area standards, so that will necessitate variances. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of the preliminary plat with conditions at its September 30th meeting. They recommended the following conditions. Pay the platting fee of $295, which is a base fee of $175 and $30 per lot. Number 2, provide an electronic file of the plat in an AutoCAD 2016 or newer format. Item 3, determine the status of 2 unused utility services located in Haberly Avenue. Number 4, secure necessary variances. And number 5, rezone the property to R2 single and 2-family residence district. That would conclude the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Schnobrick.
And from the zoning aspect, I don't have anything else to say from it. Dave covered everything with the conditions. Everything was recommended, so I'm going to offer a motion to recommend approval with the preliminary plot of Milford Heights 7th edition with conditions.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any additional discussion?
Why were they plotted out so narrow originally?
The property was originally intended to be developed with townhomes, just like you have across the
Across the way,
street.
okay.
So there were going to be 6 townhomes there on,
Gotcha.
1 per lot.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 4.2, conditional use permit, 1625 South Franklin Street.
Good evening, Council President, Councilors. John Isley, planner with the City of New Ulm. This is a request to approve a conditional use permit by Bonnie Lance to allow a 6-foot-tall fence in the front yard setback area on property zoned RT1 and legally described as lots 8 and 9, block 125, south of Center Street, with a street address of 1625 South Franklin. I'll just provide you a little background on this. The fence already is in place if you've been by the property. The fence is located 26 feet from the front property line. The required front yard setback is 30 feet. And within the front yard setback area, our zoning ordinance allows for a maximum height of 48 inches. So the proposal is for a conditional use permit to allow that fence to be at 6 feet. The Planning Commission did recommend approval, unanimously recommend approval at their September 29th, 2022 Planning Commission meeting with 4 conditions. Our findings of fact form that is included in your reports here provides the reasoning that the Planning Commission recommended approval. The 4 conditions that they recommended approval with were the applicant / property owner will pay the cost to record the permit with the Brown County Recorder's Office. 2, the fence will be regularly maintained and not become or remain in a condition of disrepair or constitute a nuisance. 3, the fence shall not adversely impact the use of the alley by pedestrians or vehicular traffic. And then 4, the permit is limited to the location and dimensions of the newly installed fence located in the front yard area on 17th South Street, on the 17th South Street side of the property. That would conclude the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Nisley.
Just one comment I'm going to make. Normally, I voted the last time no on one that was up on, I believe it was Summit Street. In the event of this one, I'm all right with it because it's actually located across from the park where there's no residents. Because I'm not always in favor of do it and ask for forgiveness later, but I guess I'm okay with this one being in what I call the rear part of the front yard setback by the alley.
Yeah, it's the street is addressed off of Franklin.
Right. All right.
Yeah, it's kind of an unusual situation because it's got 2 front yard setbacks, being on the corner on that aspect, and the property owner wasn't aware of that at the time. But she wanted to match up the fence in line with existing landscaping and then, the height of the fence for the deer situation as a whole and to have a garden, so.
Yes, I read through the letter and through the packet, and it makes sense to me.
So with that, I'm fine with it, and I'll recommend approval with conditions. The conditional use permit, the applicant of Bonnie Lance to allow a 6-foot high tall fence in the front yard setback area and property zone RT1, traditional neighborhood single-family resident district, and legally described lots 8 and 9, block 125, south of Center Street.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 4.3, variance request, 1339 Oak Street.
All right. This variance request is to seek approval with conditions of the variance by John Gog to allow a detached garage to be constructed 5 feet from the front yard property line as described in the variance application submitted on the property legally described as Lot 4, Block 1, Schneider's Third Edition, and a street address of 1339 Oak Street. In your report, you can see the staff report that shows the location of the proposed building and its location compared to Oak Street. The proposed structure is 28 feet long by 28 feet wide and will abut their existing driveway. Staff has discussed with the city engineer if there were any safety concerns or sightline concerns going up or coming down Oak Street, and the city engineer indicated that there weren't any concerns with their proposed location. Staff also was out on site and measured the distance from the back of the sidewalk to where the front of this building is going to be, and it's going to be roughly 14 feet. The Planning Commission at its September 29th meeting unanimously recommended approval of the variance request with 2 conditions. Those 2 conditions were, just give me a sec. 1, the applicant shall contact the city once all construction stakes have been set for the placement of the concrete pad. And 2, the applicant shall pay the cost to record the variance with the Brown County Recorder's Office. That concludes the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Nisley.
I'll offer a resolution waive the reading to recommend approval with conditions. The variance request by John Gog to allow a detached garage to be constructed 5 feet from the front property line on the property described in the variance application submitted on the property legally described as Lot 4, Block 1, Schneider's Third Edition, street address 1339 Oak Street.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Resolution.
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 Director Jorgensen, please call the roll.
Counselor Mack?
Yes.
Counselor Christian?
Yes.
Counselor Warmka?
Yes.
And President Becker?
Yes, that motion does carry. Item number 4.4, placement of American flags by the city cemetery entrance sign.
Council President, council members, Jeff Huffman, Public Works Superintendent. The American Legion approached me about putting some flags by the city cemetery sign. And I took it to the Cemetery Commission, Monuments Commission, and they recommended, because the Legion wanted 3 flags by the sign. The commissioners requested 2 flags, so it'd be more balanced, one on each side of the sign. So they want to put them up, fly 365 days, 24/7. And they figured they'd have enough street lighting to light the flags. So it unanimously passed to put up 2 flags from the Monuments and Cemetery Commission. So it's just a request if they're looking for future plans to do more down Cemetery Avenue and lighting. They just would like to have more American flags put by the cemetery.
And they are okay with the 2 flags?
They're okay with 2
Okay.
flags, yep.
Two,
Yep,
both
for now.
American flags. And then who would be responsible for like bringing them down and pulling them up?
The American Legion would be responsible for them if they get ripped or a pole gets bent or anything like that. They would do all the maintenance and.
But if it has to come to
flags.
half-mast and stuff like that, would they do all of that also?
I believe so, yes. Yep.
Good to know.
We took it to the Catholic cemetery too, but they did not want anything to do with it as of now, so So,
I just want to make sure that they're, that if it is flying like on city property, that they're properly coming down when they should be and going up when they should be. So as long as that's not a concern, yeah.
I can double check with the Legion and let them know that, so.
Yeah. We would.
I think it'll look nice. I'll make a motion to approve the request from the New American Legion to place 2 American flags by the city cemetery entrance sign, one on each side of the sign.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 5.1, professional service contract for stormwater utility fee implementation.
Madam President, City Councilors, before you with the request today is the award of a contract to Bolton and Mink to provide professional services for the implementation of a stormwater utility fee. A little bit of background is currently the City of New Ulm funds improvements for the stormwater collection system, including piping structures, ponds, filtration basins, and the Minnesota River levy with bond funds and/or city tax funds. Staff intends to pursue development of a new and separate stormwater utility with its own revenue structure to sustain future maintenance and development of the stormwater utility infrastructure. Other components of this project includes the implementation of stormwater utility-related policies, procedures, public outreach, public education, and local ordinance and billing protocol updates. This topic was discussed at a work session back on February 16th of 2021, where we discussed the need for the establishment of this fee to assist with funding of the ongoing stormwater-related infrastructure projects such as storm pond maintenance and storm collection modifications, along with funding a new stormwater quality specialist / engineering technician within the engineering department. With new MS4 permit regulations and requirements from the MPCA, it has become difficult for staff to continue to comply with all permit requirements in addition to their normal daily activities. This position would oversee all permitting regulations within the city concerning stormwater. At the July 5th, 2022 meeting, Council authorized staff to solicit proposals from consulting firms to provide the professional services necessary for this implementation. The final score and fee amounts from those proposals are included within your packet, with Bolton and Mink receiving a proposal score of 39.7 out of 45, with a fee amount of $29,532. The fees ranged from Bolton and Mink's low fee amount to the high of $76,383. The cost of this was funded within the engineering department's 2022 budget in the amount of $65,000. At this time, I'd answer any questions you may have.
How much does the fee amount play into the proposal score?
So we have 9 different categories that we score, and the fee rank is equal to the other categories within the proposal scoring.
It clearly makes sense to go with Bolton and Mink, and wonderful that it's that much under budget, too.
I'll motion to award the contract to Bolton Mink Incorporated to provide professional services for the implementation of a stormwater utility fee in the amount of $29,532.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 6.1, New Ulm Police Department policies.
President Becker, members of the council, Dave Workworth, New Ulm Police Department. The 2 policies, we're still kind of picking away at them, slowly but surely. The 2 that we have in front of you, one is personal appearance standards, and then the other one involves citation releases. I guess the highlights on that is the personal appearance standards. Probably, if talk about morale with the police department, this is probably one of the biggest ones that they're watching closely, even though it appears a pretty straightforward policy. We haven't allowed beards
with the police department. We allowed mustaches, but never a beard, even a goatee. And that's something that's a trend that's really been changing over the last 25 years with departments. We were kind of the holdouts. I was at a recent meeting involving in South Central Minnesota in Mankato, and it's basically Region 9. We're the only department that doesn't allow them at this point. And, my take on that always was, if you have to put on a gas mask or an N95 mask for COVID or something like that, a beard could affect the seal. These other agencies said that they realistically have gone through COVID. They've had to, with the social unrest, put masks on. They haven't had a problem with that, even sealing over, like with the beard. And then, the other part is if they have a problem, they require them to be able to shave. Basically, they have to have the equipment there, and they've said they've encountered no issues with that. So that was the feedback I got on that. I would be in agreement that, certainly we expect a high standard as far as appearance. I don't believe the beard takes away from that high standard.
The one thing I did actually read through it, and it's entirely, is there any national recognized standard, Dave? Like in the fire service, your mask you can allowed to have facial hair, but your mask has to seal. The police, it's different?
Well, we have to have a seal, so we have,
Right.
we have fit testing once a year.
Okay, so it is similar.
And, either they get a seal or they don't, or
Yeah, they
other
don't.
they're breathing in gas, it's gonna be really
Right.
uncomfortable.
Okay.
But they've told us that they don't have any issues with it. Now, Mankato Public Safety, Police and Fire, now, their fire service still doesn't allow beards, but their police department does, their law enforcement side of public safety. And they said they've encountered no issues.
Okay, thank you.
But if there would be a problem, they would simply have to shave, they would get in compliance, and they have to be able to do that real time, like right now.
Right now.
And then the other policy that we have in place, or that I'm asking for permission is to change is the citation releases. And that was by recommendation of our prosecutor, our new city prosecutor. It's the new way of handling things, and we want our policy to reflect our practice. But that's very straightforward, in compliance with state law and state statutes. And I also had attached the reference statutes and laws that would dictate that. So if there's any questions or anything, I'd certainly be ready to answer anything.
Dave, in the past, has this prevented us from, say, hiring a new hire with our current policies, with facial hair or anything like on that aspect?
I don't know that for certain. I know that it's a big thing for law enforcement to be able to do that. And I think it's just like, I just remember like when I was in the military. When you got out of the military, absolutely everybody, it seemed like I never grew a beard, but most people want to grow a beard right after. And I think there's something about not being able to do that. So, I expect when this policy goes into place, you're going to find a lot of people with beards that first 3-4 months. Again, we're going to require that the appearance looks professional and everything, and it's certainly within compliance with this 3/4 inch. I'm confident, that's going to be the standard, and that's certainly what we'll be enforcing. But I really, if you give it another 7-8 months, I think you're going to have less people probably wearing beards. There's something about when you're first allowed to do it. I don't know directly, though, to answer your question, that we've ever lost a candidate because of a beard requirement.
Okay.
Well, thanks again for all the work. It looks great. Motion to approve the updated New Ulm Police Department policies, which provides a framework and guidance for the New Ulm police officers while they are employed by and for the city of New Ulm.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 6.2, bid award for replacement of rooftop unit at the New Ulm Public Library.
Council President, Councilors, Wadzabo Building Official. We're looking at replacing another rooftop unit at the library. It's, as it stated in there, it's a two-stage air conditioning unit. We've lost one of the stages of cooling, and it is of the old R22 refrigerant that this one runs, and that's why the high cost of replacing the one stage on the cooling side. It is getting up into 14 years old. We're looking at the cost of replacing just that one side as opposed to replacing the whole unit, and looking at doing the whole unit right away. And the unit is 20 weeks out, so it would be next spring before we get it, right now we don't need the air conditioning, so we still got the heating side of it, so we should be good to go on that.
I ran into this with my own building business of $4,000 repairs every year or two, so this makes sense. That's a pretty good price too nowadays. So I'll make a motion to accept the bid of $17,950 from Gog Sheet Metal for the replacement of a rooftop unit at the library.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion does carry. Item number 7.1, report of claims paid.
Make a motion to accept the list of claims paid in the amount of $2,939,467.69.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Those in favor signal by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion does carry. With no additional business, this meeting is adjourned.
Before 5.